Hi everyone, it's Tasleem here, and I just met Rick Hansen. You know, the Man in Motion tour, the huge inspiration from years ago. He came up to me and he had this huge smile on his face and he put out his hand and shook mine and he said, "Hi, I'm Rick Hansen." And I said, "I know." And I said, "You look the same, you don't age." Like I recognized him right away. And I thought, wow, what a role model, because even now he's glowing and charismatic and he looks very fit. And even a physiotherapist near me said, "See, it pays off to be working out and training and doing all that exercise." And I was thinking, like, there were probably, I know obviously there were a lot of people that, like thousands of people, that were so excited with his dream and his goal and his wheeling around the world to raise money and, you know, become such a philanthropist for disabilities, but also for people that just have a dream that they want to achieve. But I have a feeling that before he actually achieved even half of that, that there were a lot of voices around him that said, "That's really sweet," or "That's really selfless, but it's going to be hard to do." And they might have even tried to talk him out of it because of their own fear or their own worry for him. And, you know, even well meaning people, but just thinking that that's hard for someone even who doesn't have an impairment, but like to be doing it in this state after, you know, he had such a huge accident. And you know, I'm sure people were saying, like, shouldn't you be resting and taking care of yourself now? But that's not what he wanted to do. And it made me think of, in my last video I was talking about how I, you know, have been going up and down with this like dream of mine to get back into dancing, and how I thought like that I needed to give up. And then right when I was really in that state, there was a sign, a literal sign that said, "Trust me, you can dance." And I was so excited. And I shared it with the people around me in that moment because I wanted a picture, and they got excited for me, but they didn't really know the whole story. So they were kind of just excited for my own excitement. And then I shared it later with some people that I knew in my life, and there were quite a few different reactions. Like some people were, you know, excited for me and glad that I like got this reinvigoration to go for what I wanted. But there were a lot of people who kind of reacted in a way that, "Oh, like that's so lovely that there was a sign," but there was no excitement in their voice. It was kind of like, "Yeah, like that must, you know, bring you a lot of happiness," but I didn't feel like they really believed that I could do anything with it. Like that that doesn't mean anything. Like, and it was interesting because it wasn't just their reaction, but it was how that made me feel a little disappointed. Not in them, but just like how it could actually like influence a little bit of what I thought about what I went through. And then I was like, no, 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 I'm sticking to what I'm feeling, and I'm feeling good. Like, and then I had gone to some practitioners that have more of a conventional kind of way of thinking about medicine, and especially with MS and what they've seen, and they were very skeptical. Like, not that I even shared this specific, like the thing about the sign, but just like my kind of encouragement, like that I felt positive about being able to do the things that I want to do again. And they, like one in particular, but a couple of them really kind of shot it down with like, yeah, but with your condition and what you've been going through, like, and as you get older, like, this is what's going to happen. And I was like, I don't even get me there. Like, don't even put me in that mindset, because there are lots of people who are evidence that they actually did make their dream come true. Even people who have had MS, and I said had because some of them cured themselves of it and are helping other people. So I was like, no, you're not taking me down with this. Like, I'm going to stick to what I believe. And then there were people that I had never even met before, like people on a bus or strangers that I met in really interesting situations, where I told them about the sign and the situation. And they were so thrilled for me. They said, do not give up. That was definitely your sign for you. And it was meant for you to see. And they reacted like the way that I wanted someone to react, because it was like confirmation of what I was feeling in the beginning too. And so I think it's really important who we share our dreams with, our dancing dreams and other dreams, because depending on how people react, if we already have some shakiness on our belief that it can come true or that we can achieve these things, other people's doubts can sway us back into our own doubts. Besides Rick Hansen, I can think of other people. Like, there's this beautiful dancer, Victoria Bueno. She's a young, absolutely stunning girl, first of all. And she had a dream to become a ballerina. And she was really, really working at it and trying her best, but she kept falling and having a lot of issues because this girl was born with no arms. She does everything with her feet and her mouth, but especially her feet. It's incredible. Like, she puts makeup on with her feet. I can't even put makeup on with my hands, like, that are meant to be able to do those things. And I was just amazed by her, not just her skill at being able to adapt in this way, but her perseverance and her passion. And she definitely has a huge passion for dance. And she has become this world famous dancer. Like, if you look her up on YouTube, she's been in a lot of competitions, and she has achieved so many things that other people told her, I'm sure, that she could not achieve. Luckily, it sounds like her family, or at least one of her parents, if not both, were really encouraging of her. And her telling them her dream did not make them shut it down or make her feel incompetent. It actually helped them help her to make it come true. But I'm sure that there were people around, like I was even watching the video in the beginning thinking, how is she going to accomplish this? Because when we have arms, sometimes like it's hard for us to dance even with having all our body parts together. Like, and she has achieved some amazing things. The other person that really comes to mind is Chris Gardner. So the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and his son in it was based on a true story about a man named Chris Gardner. And that story, in the middle of it, Bruce Willis's character, like he plays Chris Gardner, says to his son, I think his son was playing baseball and he just couldn't hit the ball, and Will Smith grabs his son and sort of says, don't you ever let someone tell you you can't do something. That's coming from their own fear and their own sense of limitation. And basically, like telling his son, you don't have to take that on. And he himself, Chris Gardner, the person that Will Smith was playing, took on that mindset of like, I'm not going to let someone tell me because of their own fears what I can or cannot do. And he achieved so much for his son and for himself that other people told him that he wouldn't be able to achieve. And, even telling his wife or family and friends around him, they didn't support him. And he ended up having to do it on his own. But there were people that came into his life that he told the dream to, and they could feel it, and they wanted to help him make it come true. And I think it makes such a big difference. It makes such a big difference who we choose to share our dreams with, and also who we decide not to tell our dreams to, because I think deep down inside we can feel when someone is not in that same mindset or in that same level as what we believe in terms of manifestation and our own powers to make dreams come true. And I think it's okay to keep things private, to keep things your own, especially if you yourself have some doubts, because then you get swayed too much to go into that doubting mindset. I'm going to leave you with one quote that is along these lines as well. And that is by Vincent van Gogh. I saw it recently. It said, if you hear a voice that says you can't paint, by all means go and paint, and that voice will be silenced. I think this works for everything, for most things. If you replace paint with whatever it is that you want, if you hear a voice that says you can't dance, then by all means dance, and that voice will be silenced. Whatever your dance is, whatever your dream is, fill that phrase, that quote in with that. And remember that those voices that we hear, most of the time, they are not actually our own. Like when I doubt that I can dance again, or those are actually not my own voices. Those are voices of practitioners that don't believe in mind-body connection. Those are voices of people in my life who really care about me and don't want me to get hurt, and they're just acting out of their own fear for me. There are people around me that just don't believe in like possibilities. They whatever they see, they think that's real and there's nothing else out there. And I don't think like that. I think more like Vincent van Gogh, and I would like to think more like Will Smith, Chris Gardner, and I would like to think like Rick Hansen, because they all had these goals that other people didn't think were achievable, especially in their situation. And Victoria Bueno, yet their goal was so strong and their passion was so strong for it that they ignored what other people were saying, and oftentimes just decided not to tell the wrong people about their dreams, because the most important person to tell was themselves, to remind themselves to just go out and do it. And then the voice that said you can't do it will be silenced. It's unfortunate that those voices only get silenced once you prove them wrong. But hey, whatever you need to do to get there, I say choose the right people to tell your dance dreams and other dreams too, to help pave an easier way to your dreams. less resistance, more ease and flow. And we don't need to know how we get there. We don't need to know how it's going to be achieved. We just need to believe and take the next step and the next step and the next step. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you again soon.